Hi guys, this is a stretching video that I've put together for you, just in case you're feeling a little bit stiff and a little bit sort of tight in certain areas. You can obviously follow the video and do these stretches that we're going to outline in a second. We're going to do a slight warm-up. We're not going to do a usual warm-up that we do in class. We're just going to do a little bit of a warm-up just to get your muscles prepared, just to do some stretching. So it's going to be slightly different to what you do in class, and probably not as long, but it's just to prepare your muscles just for some stretching exercises. So first of all, you need to do your 3 checks, as we always do. Are there any changes in your symptoms, your health, your medication? If there are, then don't participate in any activity at all until you've spoken to your GP. If you're not feeling yourself, your usual self, and you feel that you need to speak to them, or if you just need yourself a day off because you've maybe done a little bit too much previous days. Okay, so if you're feeling okay, then we'll continue and we'll get the warm-up started. All right. Okay guys, so we're going to start with our warm-up now. So we're going to start with marching on the spot, just like we do in class. As I said, normally just pace yourself to what you would normally do in class. Don't worry about keeping up with me on the video. So pacing yourself, making sure you go into your own tempo. Okay, so first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to do some toe taps, and we're going to introduce some bicep curls. So we're going to tap our toes forwards, alternatively pointing your toes down, stretching out the front of the ankle and bringing them back, just like we do in class. Keeping your arms nice and loose, your upper body nice and relaxed, chest is high. Okay, then we're just going to bring in some bicep curls. We're going to curl the arms up and back down to the side and continue to tap your toes forwards. All right, and do a few more of those. We'll go back into a march. Okay, as I said, keeping your pace to your level and what you feel comfortable with. We're not doing a vigorous warm-up here, we're just doing a little bit of a warm-up just to prepare the muscles for some stretching. Okay, we're going to take it into a heel dig now. Okay, pointing your toes up towards the ceiling and digging your heels into the floor. Again, arms are nice and loose down by your sides. And then we're going to introduce that bicep curl. Curl your arms up and back down, just like we do in class. Okay, I'm going to do a few more of those, and then we're going to take it back into a march. Okay, so we'll take it back to marching now. Then the next exercise is going to be toe taps behind with a bicep curl. Okay, so as normal, making sure you're checking behind you before you take your feet behind you. So just have a quick check, quick glance, make sure there's nothing behind you, and take your toes out, tapping behind you. Again, arms are nice and loose and by your side. And then we're going to incorporate the bicep curl. So introduce your arms, just checking and toe tapping behind you. Okay, we'll do a few more of those, and then we'll take it back to our marching. So 2 more, and then back to march. Okay, so as I said, this is just preparing you just to do some stretching today, so we're not going to do overall very vigorous activity, just getting the muscles nice and warm, ready to stretch. So we're going to take it into a side bend now. So we're going to have arms down by your side, okay, and we're going to stretch down and back to centre and do 8 of those. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold on the 8, so we get that nice little stretch there. Back to centre, then we go opposite side for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and hold on the 8, just for a few seconds, just to feel a slight stretch in the hip. Back to centre, fold your arms in front, take it round to the right for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold on the 8, back to centre, opposite side for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, hold on the 8, back to centre, and then back to a march. Okay, so the next exercise we're going to take it into a side step. Okay, so we're just going to step out to the side and back to centre. So we'll go side to side, stepping and tapping the toes as we do. Again, making sure your arms are nice and relaxed, your shoulders are down. Okay, and from there we're going to add in a hamstring curl. So you're going to bring the leg up behind as though you want to kick your bum. If you want to, you can have hands on your thighs if that's easier, or if you want to use your arms for momentum, then that's also fine, whatever feels comfortable. Okay, we'll do a few more of those and we'll take it back into a march. 2 more and back to marching. Okay, the next bit that we're going to do is hip rolls. So if you've done my cool downs in any of classes with me, you would have done these before. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold it there, feet hip width apart, hands on the hips. We're going to rotate round in a big circle. If you've got clicky hips like me, you'll hear them go cling in a minute. Do 3, 4, 5, and then we'll do 5 the opposite way. So we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Back to marching. Again, keeping the arms nice and loose. And then what we're going to do, just to loosen up the upper torso area, just going to do some shoulder rolls. So we're going to do 5 big shoulder rolls forwards. Nice and relaxed, nice and slow. No jerky movements. We'll do 1 more and then we'll go backwards, so taking it the other way for 5, 2 more and back to marching. Okay, so you should be starting to feel a little bit looser now and a little bit warmer. Okay, so we're just going to hold it there with our 2 deep breaths to finish. Breathe in and out, and in again, and out, and in again, and out. Okay, so we're going to go on to the next part now. We're going to do the stretches. Obviously some of them are standing, some of them are sitting, so you may require a chair or a wall in order to do some of these stretches. Obviously go to your mobility level. If there are some exercises that you can see you're not going to be able to do safely, then just leave them out and just do what you can. Okay guys, so we're going to start with the stretching activities now. First of all, just to let you know, we're going to start from the top down. So we're going to start up with the neck and the shoulder area and then just work our way down. Some of them will be using the chair, some of them may well be on the floor. Again, just go to whatever you feel you can do mobility wise. Okay, so I'll demonstrate as best as I can, standing, seated, and then if we have to go down onto the floor, then we'll do that for you. Alright, so the first one you're going to start with is your neck. So we do standing first of all. So you're going to clasp your hands, but you're going to clasp them behind you. So this action behind, okay, you're going to push your shoulders back, so you're anchoring your shoulders together. And then you're going to gently tuck your chin as though you're nodding your head. And then you're just going to lean over to the right hand side. Should feel a nice little stretch coming down your neck and into the top of your shoulder. Okay, so holding your stretches for about 15 to 30 seconds. Okay, and you can repeat that up to 4 times if you wish, anywhere up to a minute. Okay, back to centre. Again, reset, clasping your hands behind you, tucking your chin, and then leaning over to the left. You may find that you feel tighter on one side than the other. That's completely normal. Just depends on, obviously, dominant side you can feel a little bit tighter on. Alright, so again, breathing through it, don't hold your breath, and then just counting for 15 to 30 seconds, whatever feels comfortable, and then returning to centre. To do this on the chair, slightly different. So you just grab your chair, something nice and comfortable, seating a little bit forward so that your feet are planted on the floor. Grasp the sides of the chair and use that as an anchor to sort of pull yourself down. Okay, so pulling yourself down so you've got a nice anchor in your shoulders. Again, tuck that chin as though you're nodding your head, and then leaning over to the left or right, whichever way you want to go. holding that stretch for a few seconds, 15 to 30 if you can, and then back to centre. Again, reset, stretching the shoulders back, anchoring the shoulders down, tucking your chin, and then leaning over to the opposite side. You should feel a nice stretch down from the neck into your shoulder. Again, you may feel tighter on one side than the other, that's completely normal. And then back to centre. Okay, so that's your neck stretch is done. The next stretch we're going to do is a rear shoulder stretch. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate it sitting first of all because I'm already on the chair. So bringing your arm out in front of you, whichever arm you prefer, and then bringing it across in front of your body. You've done this in classes before, okay, so you should feel a stretch from around this part of your shoulder. Okay, so you can either place your hand here and pull into your chest, or if you want to, you can get a deeper stretch by pulling in above the elbow joint. Don't pull on your elbow joint, do below or above. Okay, so you're holding for 15 to 30 seconds, breathing throughout, keeping your torso nice and high. Don't slump, that's not doing any good. You need to keep your chest nice and high, holding for 15 to 30 seconds, and then swapping over. Okay, again, don't be surprised if you feel as though you're stretching further on one side than the other. It depends how tight your body is on the one side. Okay, so you should feel a nice stretch going from the back of your shoulder round towards the front. Okay, again, just making sure that you're not holding on and pulling on the elbow joint itself, either above or below. Okay, so 15 to 30 seconds, and you can repeat up to 4 times until you've held for a minute. Doing that standing is exactly the same. Okay, so move your chair out of the way if you want to do it standing. Okay, so feet hip width apart, bringing the arm in front of your body, pulling in as much as you can, standing nice and tall, breathing throughout, and counting 15 to 30 seconds. Okay, and then do the opposite side, so shake the arm out and do the opposite side, bring it across the body, counting for your 15 to 30 seconds, and then slowly release. Okay guys, so your next exercise is your seated tricep stretch. So you can do this seated or standing. I'm going to demonstrate it seated for you, but it's exactly the same principle while you're standing up. Okay, so you're going to be stretching the back of the arm, so the tricep. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the arm up and behind your head, so you want to aim towards be touching the base of your neck if you can, if the mobility allows, obviously, and then taking the other hand, placing it on the elbow, and then just bringing it, pulling it back towards you, so you're trying to increase the stretch down the back of the arm. Okay, keeping yourself nice and tall in the chest area, keeping your posture upright, no slumping. Okay, keeping yourself nice and tall, and you should feel that stretch down the back of your arm going towards your armpit. Okay, hold that for 15 to 30 seconds, up to 4 times, obviously 15 seconds up to a minute if you can. Okay, and then gently release. Okay, give it a little bit of a shake, just get the blood back in your arm. Take the other arm up and over. Again, don't be surprised if you are tighter on one side than the other. Okay, remember to breathe throughout and keep your chest nice and high for a count of 15 to 30 if you wish. Okay, and then just gently release. Again, you can do that standing, exactly the same principle, just making sure your posture is good, your chest's nice and high when you're doing that. Okay. Okay, next we're going to do our standing chest stretch. So what you want to be doing, I'm going to do it face on for you and then show you from the sides, just so that you know where my hand's position is. So we're going to clasp our hands behind our back, so they're on our bum. Okay, and then all you're going to do is gently lift those hands away, and you should feel a slight stretch across the front of your chest. Okay, so lift the hands as high as you can that feels comfortable, keeping your chest nice and high, standing nice and tall, breathing throughout, and obviously for a count of 15 to 30 seconds or up to a minute if you wish. You can repeat it 4 times of 15 seconds. Okay, so I'll show you that again from the side. So standing side on, clasping behind, so your hands are on your bum, And then what you're going to do, you're going to make sure you're nice and tall, and then just slowly, gently lift the hands away. Just maintain that for 15 to 30 seconds if you can, and then slowly lower down. Okay, so that's your standing chest stretch. Right, okay. So next is our standing side stretch. So for this, you're going to make sure that your feet start off just slightly wider than hip width apart. Okay, you're going to bend over to your left side, so you're going to stand nice and tall, chest nice and high, posture good, shoulders back, and then you're just going to lean down towards your knee, outer side of your knee, and just feel that stretch just in your side. If you want to increase that, take your arm over towards the left, and you should feel the stretch increase just there. Again, holding it for 15 to 30 seconds, or do 15 seconds 4 times to equate to a minute. Okay, breathing throughout and making sure that you're not slumping forwards. Alright, so you want to maintain the stretch in the side. Okay, I'm going to take it back to centre. We'll do the opposite side. So again, leaning down as far as you can, as far as allows. If you want to increase, you can take the arm over just to increase the stretch. If not, you can just leave the arm down the side, resting on the hip. Okay, whatever suits your mobility level, and bringing it back to the centre and just relaxing the shoulders. Okay, so that's your standing side stretch done. Okay guys, so next is your standing calf stretch. I'm going to use a chair to demonstrate this, but you can use a wall if you want to, just by standing up against the wall for support. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to have our hands in front on the chair, and we're going to have our feet hip width apart. We're going to take your right leg back and make sure you're placing the heel down on the floor. Okay, bending the front knee forwards, keeping your chest nice and high until you start to feel a stretch in the lower part of your leg. You should be feeling the stretch down this section of your leg. Okay, so making sure you're maintaining good posture, staring forwards, not down to the floor. Obviously you're going to stretch your neck. Okay, so just breathing through it, counting 15 to 30 seconds, whichever you prefer, and then you can repeat up to 4 times to get to a minute. Okay, now you're going to swap legs. So take the front leg and then take the back leg, making sure heel is in contact with the floor, and then just leaning forward and slightly bending that front leg until you can feel the stretch in the lower leg. Okay, again, making sure your chest is high and your back straight. Don't lean back, okay, because that's going to put pressure on your lower back. So maintain upright posture and just stare forwards, counting 15 to 30 seconds. Alright, and then just standing up. Then this can be done on the chair, so I'll just show you quickly. You also need a towel in order to do the seated calf stretch. Okay, you need to make sure that you've got it folded up like this. Okay, so sitting down, making sure that your chair's against something, and then what we're going to do is we're going to wrap the towel around the ball of your foot. Okay, so one leg out straight, wrapping the towel around the ball of the foot, keeping your back upright, and then just pull the towel towards you until you can feel a stretch in the lower leg. Okay, so maintaining your upright posture, staring forwards, counting to 15 seconds. If you can't quite feel it in your lower leg, then just adjust your towel to point your toes towards the ceiling. So pulling those toes back, you should feel down in this section of your leg a nice little stretch. Okay, so swapping legs, bring that one out, pop your foot in there, leg out straight, down onto the floor, keeping this knee bent, and then just pulling back until you feel a stretch. Okay, keeping that back as straight as you can. Don't slouch, don't slump forward, keeping your back nice and tall and chest nice and high. Again, 15 seconds, 30 seconds, whichever you prefer, up to a minute. Okay, and that's your seated calf stretch. Next one we're going to do, get rid of your towel, is your standing quad stretch. So again, bring your chair to an area. I'm going to do this demonstrating forwards. So what we're going to do is we're going to hang on to the chair for support, taking the other leg, bringing the foot up towards the bum, okay, and bringing it as close to the bum as you can. Keep your knees together and keep yourself nice and tall, chest nice and high. Again, holding this stretch for 15 to 30 seconds and then up to a minute, 4 times of 15 seconds if you can. Okay, and then you're going to swap sides. So I'm going to do this one facing the opposite way for you. So you can bring foot up towards your bum, keeping your legs in line, so you can see my leg's not here, it's not all the way back, it's in line with my knee. Okay, keeping the knees together if you can, chest nice and high, back nice and straight. Okay, if you have trouble with that one and you can't quite grasp your ankle, you can use your towel. Okay, so you can loop the towel around your leg and use that as an anchor if you want to, or if you've got trousers on, you can use your trousers to pull your leg up as much as you can. Okay, so those are your options that you've got there. Your seated quad stretch, you need to have your seat side on here. Okay, I'm stuck on the carpet, sorry. So you need to have your seat side on for this one. So you're hanging on to the chair here for support if you need to, but what you want to do is shuffle over to the edge of the chair so that you can drop that leg back. Okay, keep your toe in contact with the floor, don't let your toe sort of go level with the floor, you want to maintain contact with your toe. So you should then start to feel a stretch down the front of your thigh. Again, depends how flexible you are. You may feel a slight stretch, you may feel quite a big stretch. Just depends on how flexible you are, and especially in the hip flexor area as well. Okay, if you want to increase that stretch, if you feel comfortable to do that, you can lift the leg up if you want to, just like you were standing, grabbing onto the front of your foot and bringing that up towards your bum. Again, depends on your mobility and how flexible you are. Alright, so holding it for 15 to 30 seconds, as I said, keeping yourself nice and tall, holding onto the chair for support if you want to. Alright, and then repeat on the opposite side. Okay, so that's your seated quad stretch done for you. Okay, so next we're going to do your standing hamstring and seated hamstring stretch. So for standing, you can have the chair for support if you wish, or if you're quite able, you can do it without. I'm going to demonstrate without, okay, just so that you know. I'm going to do it side on so you can see the angles as to where my knees and, you know, feet are. So you're going to take your left leg forward, and then you're going to take the weight onto your right side. So take the weight back, foot flat on the floor if you want to. If you want to increase the stretch, you can point your toes up towards the ceiling. Okay, so taking the weight back onto the opposite knee, this leg's nice and straight. If you want to increase the stretch, you can slowly take the hand down towards the ankle or even the toe if your flexibility allows that. If not, if you're feeling quite comfortable here, you should be feeling a nice stretch in the back of your leg. Okay, so slowly raise up, swap legs, so the front leg goes out, bend the back leg, and then, as I said, you can keep your foot flat on the floor, or you can lift your toe if you want to increase the stretch. If that feels okay, you want to increase it further, you can then aim towards touching top of your shin or your toe if you want to. Obviously, having the chair there for support if you need it. Alright, if you don't want to put all that pressure on the opposite leg, you can use the chair for support if you want to. Okay, bring yourself up, making sure that your back's nice and straight throughout there, and that your chest is nice and high and you're breathing throughout as well. Alright, okay, so this is your seated hamstring variation. So making sure that you're sort of near to the edge of your chair. Okay, you're going to keep one leg bent and flat on the floor if you can. Again, that depends on your chair height, so you might find that you're on tiptoes depending on the height of the chair. If you can keep it flat, then that's great. If not, like me, I'm on quite a high chair here, so I'm going to be sort of on my tippy toes a little bit. Take your leg out straight in front of you, okay, keeping one bent, one out straight, and then hinging forwards and leaning from the hips, keeping your back nice and straight, and then slowly lower down towards your toes, okay, keeping your chest nice and high, looking forwards rather than down, okay, and breathing through it the whole time, counting for 15 seconds or 30 seconds, and then up to a minute, okay. And then slowly bring yourself back up, swap legs, leg out in front, nice and straight. As I said, hinging from the hips, keeping your back nice and straight, and then slowly lower down until you can feel the back of the leg stretching nicely. Holding that there for 15 to 30 seconds, up to a count of a minute. Repeating it 4 times if you want to. And then slowly back up. And that's your seated hamstring stretch done. Okay guys, next one to do is your seated glute exercise stretch. So again, this will depend on your mobility as to whether you'll be able to do this stretch effectively. So if you can't do it, then don't worry, just leave it out, it's absolutely fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our right leg and we're going to pop it across the top of our left knee, okay, so making sure that the ankle's nicely supported and that your foot's nice and flat, making sure that you're on the edge of the chair rather than too far back for this, keeping your chest nice and high, holding onto the knee, holding onto the foot, and then just slowly hip hinge like you're doing your hamstring stretch, hip hinge forwards, keeping your chest nice and high, and you should start to feel a stretch in the back of your bottom, okay, so just travelling from the bottom into the top of your thigh, okay, so holding that position, breathing throughout 15 to 30 seconds, or you can repeat 4 times of 15 seconds up to a minute, okay, and then you're going to swap legs. Again, you're going to feel tighter on one side than the other, so getting into this position might be easier on one side than the other, okay, so maintaining your foot nice and flat, keeping this knee down, and then hinging forwards, leaning forwards, keeping your back nice and straight, and just counting for 15 to 30 seconds and holding that stretch there. Again, you'll feel this from your bum and then into maybe the top of your thigh, but obviously where you're sitting. Alright, so maintaining that for as long as you can. Again, don't go too far because it can hurt from the glute if you overstretch this area. Okay, so then bringing yourself back up and returning your feet nicely on the floor. Okay, so that's your seated glute stretch. As I said, if you can't quite manage that, then just leave it out because it is quite a difficult stretch to do sitting on the chair. Okay. Okay guys, so next we're going to do your seated lower back exercise. Okay, so we're going to be stretching the lower back on the chair. So we're going to shuffle forward so we're on the front end of the chair, feet are nice and flat. We're going to keep your back nice and tall, chest nice and high, and what we're going to do is going to lean round, grabbing the back and the side of the chair, using that as an anchor just to pull yourself round as though you want to look over your shoulder. Okay, so you're going to maintain that for 15 to 30 seconds. You should feel a little stretch across your lower back as you're doing this. Alright, so keeping your chest nice and high, don't slouch or slump forward, keeping shoulders back, chest nice and high. Okay, and then you're going to repeat that, turn around, grab the opposite side of the chair, maintain your posture, and then hold for 15 seconds. Okay, so I'll just demonstrate this again on this side. So you should be feeling a stretch in the lower back as you anchor in yourself to pull yourself round. Okay, so as I said, maintain that for 15 to 30 seconds, or do 15 seconds repeated 4 times, just so you're up towards a minute. Okay, next one we're going to do is hip flexors. This is going to be one of the last exercises and stretches that we do. So you can do this standing and sitting, kneeling, so I'm going to demonstrate both. Okay, so using your chair for support, pull the chair out of the way. So hip flexor stretch is very similar to a lunge sort of pattern. So I'm just going to take the left leg forwards and then keeping your toes onto your toes, just slightly lifting your heel, and then just dropping the back knee and bending the front knee. You should feel a stretch in this area. If you can't quite feel the stretch, just gently take your hips forward, but try and maintain good posture, chest high and back straight, okay, and just hold that 15 to 30 seconds. Then returning to the centre, so you can do opposite leg, okay, so take one forwards, keeping up, heels up onto the tiptoes, and then what we're going to do is we're going to lunge forwards, so dropping the back leg. Should feel it in this section of your hip. If you can't quite feel it, just take your hips further forwards and bend your front knee, okay, keeping your upper body nice and tall but nice and relaxed at the same time, okay, and then gently taking it back, okay. So as I said, you can do this kneeling as well, so turn your chair around just so you can use the bottom of the chair for support. Get down on your knee, okay, whichever side feels comfortable for you first. I'm just going to demonstrate it on one side just for the camera purposes. So take your leg out in front of you, again, foot's nice and flat on the floor. Then you're just going to lean forward in a lunge position, keeping that knee in contact with the floor, holding onto the chair for support if you need to, chest nice and high, back nice and straight, and as I said, lean forward until you can feel a stretch down the front of your hip, okay. Holding that there 30 seconds, 15 seconds, 4 times if you wish, okay, and then just slowly return, and then it's the opposite leg, okay, leaning forwards, nice stretch in the hip, okay. So as I say, I'm just demonstrating this front on rather than side for camera purposes. You should be feeling a stretch in this part of your hip, okay, and then returning to normal, okay. That's your kneeling hip flexor stretch. Last, we're just going to do a couple of breathing exercises just to finish off, because that's your stretching all done now, okay. So grab your chair, or if you prefer you can sit on the floor, okay, and we're just going to do some arm movements just to do some breathing in and out, okay. So you're going to breathe in through your nose, hold it there for a few seconds and breathe out, okay. We're going to do 4 more of those. Breathe in, hold and release, okay. 3rd one, and release, okay, and 2 more, and out, making sure that you're nice and upright in the chair. Last one, and release, okay. So that's your stretching exercises done. Hope you found them useful. As you say, you can incorporate that into your exercise routines during the week. If you're feeling slightly stiff and a little bit tight in certain areas, hopefully that should help to loosen you off a little bit, okay. But as I said, always make sure that you are prepared for the exercises by warming up sufficiently, okay.